They'd accumulated materials for the schoolroom for several weeks from various sources, ranging from some new wood from the sawmill down to a handful of nails one of the fathers could spare. The community came together, donating whatever they could for the joint effort that would benefit them all in some way. Even Virgil and Millicent, the main benefactors and masterminds in this groundbreaking event, had a vested interest, fully intending that one day their own children would attend this school. Once 4 large windows had been acquired, they had everything they needed to begin construction. Because everyone involved had their own crops or other jobs to work around, it took 3 weeks to erect the 15 by 25 foot building and get it closed in. Rarely was everyone all there at the same time, only able to put in their share of time and work as their schedule allowed. The Sunday after it was ready, all the families gathered for a potluck dinner, giving the wives and children a chance to admire the finished product. Everyone was proud of their part in bringing it all together, and Sarah loved it. The door was in the middle of the front with 3 steps leading up to it. Inside to the right, there were hooks for children to hang their coats. And on the left, there was little square cubby holes for the children to put any other belongings they had. Beyond that, there was a pot-bellied stove right in the middle of the room on a big metal plate, with rows of seating for the children on both sides of it. The seating consisted of benches with backs, each about 5 feet long. Attached across the top of the back and extended out behind the bench was a wide plank that served as a surface for the next bench behind it to do their schoolwork. The large windows were placed 2 on each side of the building, providing ample light throughout the room. For Sarah, there was a table and chair over to one side at the wall in front of the benches, with a large chalkboard hanging in the center of the wall. Sarah was humbled by the trust that everyone had in her to teach their children. After they'd all had a chance to see inside and were back out front, she stood at the top of the stairs in the doorway of the schoolroom and addressed them all. "I can't thank all of you enough, not only for all of your hard work, but for allowing me the honor of teaching your children. I can't wait for us to get started," she announced with tears shimmering in her eyes. Everyone clapped, and she went around hugging and personally thanking everyone again. In the midst of this, she had some help fighting back the tears when she happened to overhear Horace talking to Tommy. Apparently, Tommy wasn't present to hear everything she'd said, so when he came back, he asked Horace what he'd missed. Horace thought for a second. Then, seeing the opportunity to finally use a big word that he'd learned in one of Sarah's lessons, stood a little straighter and, grinning, said, "Well, I can't remember it word for word, so I'll have to paraphrase it." She liked it a lot. When she heard this, she struggled to keep a straight face, but her heart was singing. Yes, Horace had mispronounced the word, but not only did he have the concept right, he'd put it to use. She wasn't sure if Tommy had caught it or not, because they'd run off, but she would correct it with both of them later in private so that Horace wasn't embarrassed. When she made her way to Millicent, she was more elated than ever. "None of this would have ever happened if not for you and Virgil. I don't know how to thank you," she said, wrapping her in a warm embrace. "Aw, honey, you just keep on being you and teach all these precious babies. Besides, it was the least we could do to make sure you teach ours too," she said sincerely. When Sarah pulled back and looked at her questioningly, she added, "Well, when we have 'em, that is." And they both giggled. "I'd be delighted," Sarah told her. A couple of little girls ran up to Sarah then and grabbed her hands to take her to see something they wanted to show her. As they pulled her away, Sarah sent Millicent an apologetic look over her shoulder for the interruption. Millicent laughed and waved her on. She loved Sarah and could plainly see she didn't stand alone. She could think of no one she would trust more with her own children, when the time came. She hoped that time came soon. Her thoughts turned to her sister Rose, and her beautiful 12-year-old daughter, Evelyn. Though she tried her best not to let it, at times envy reared its ugly head regarding Rose. She'd been blessed with a child within a year after her marriage, and her and Virgil had been trying for 7 years now. Determined not to get down, she pushed those thoughts aside and went over to join the others. Welcome. This week I'll be reviewing something very special. Sarah's Song by Vicky Whedbee here on the Board Goddess Book Reviews. Welcome once more, my wonderful word fiends, to my humble library. I am pleased to review an amazing story of heartbreaking loss and finding strength in overwhelming adversity. Sarah's Song by Vicky Whedbee. Please remember that by liking and subscribing to my channel, you're helping me carry on uncovering unique stories and to keep creating video book reviews for your enjoyment and entertainment. While you're at it, please feel free to toss a comment or two my way with thoughts on the books I review, as well as things you'd be interested in seeing added to my videos or my reviews. Or you can just say hi. And before another moment goes by, thanks to each of you who have become a part of my little gatherings. You make each video worthwhile. If you're not familiar with my channel, let me introduce you to Mad Max, my chief ratings duck. This little feathered brainiac, and his trusty gang of fluffy data superheroes, work tirelessly to gather the most precise and reliable information with unmatched commitment. And I'll be sharing those flawless ratings with you at the end of this review. So, stay tuned for the grand reveal. Okay, Max, are you ready for another awesome adventure? Then let us boldly embark to Hurricane Holler, Tennessee, in this week's amazing story. Today I'll be spotlighting another author submission, an endearing piece of historical fiction, which captures the very highs and lows that life can offer. Sarah's Song by Vicky Whedbee. I should note that this book is most appropriate for older teens and adults, due to scenes of mild violence. However, these elements are crucial to the story, and the author has done an outstanding job of writing them. But I did want to mention this in case there are viewers who are sensitive to this kind of topic. Somewhere outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, the lives of the inhabitants of the tiny rural hamlet of Hurricane Holler are filled with hard work, church, and community. For one mountain family, not much changes within their daily existence, until a raging fire takes the lives of the mother and father of Sarah, Tommy, Aubrey, and Faith. Orphaned and desperate, they are left with no other choice but to seek shelter within the protective wings of their wise and loving grandfather. At the same time, another family battles against the unforgiving forces of nature, their every step a struggle, as they strive to find their way back to the sanctuary of the Cherokee Reservation. The harsh elements conspire against them, leaving their young son vulnerable to the twisted intentions of a sinister man. Within this tapestry of sorrow and despair, however, a fierce determination takes root, and all refuse to succumb to the weight of their burdens, instead choosing to rise above their circumstances. But there exists a secret known only to 3 individuals. What will transpire if the devastating truth is brought into the unforgiving light of day? As I mentioned, this book is another truly special author submission. This is a very different genre from my usual sci-fi, intergalactic PIs, and progression tales, but I have learned from the amazing authors who have shared with me their work that the real joy of reading is the way it gives us a chance to explore a myriad of worlds outside of our comfort zones. And this extraordinary story is one I would have been sorry to miss. The author managed to elicit emotions on a deep and fundamental level, right from the outset. And I have to interject that the description of the book is not nearly enough to truly understand how well it pulls you into its depths. From the beginning, it was a joy to read. Right out of the gate, the characters in this story were remarkably well developed and so very relatable. From the adored protagonist Sarah to the genuinely detestable slimy antagonist, Miss Whedbee truly knows how to create depth in a character, especially the atrocious villain, one who can put on a charming face even as he commits brutal violence. And, if I am being completely honest, I admit to being a wee bit jealous of the characters within the beautifully written romantic relationships. The world brought back memories as I actually grew up in Tennessee, in a small rural community. Though it's been over 20 years since I resided in the state, I felt a strong sense of nostalgia within the author's vivid descriptions of the town, community, and amazing relationships of the characters. Within those pages, there was a true sense of warmth and affection that left me fulfilled. An unusual occurrence, which doesn't happen often from the stories in which I indulge. This book is a beautiful testament to the power of love and kindness, all wrapped up in a wonderful read. I also loved how the author integrated recipes within the story. I thought it was a stroke of genius, and I genuinely wish more authors would follow suit. The fact that these recipes are authentic Southern dishes only adds to the appeal, allowing readers to indulge in the delectable taste of the South, should they be inclined to do so. And now I'm craving cornbread like nobody's business. It was a struggle for me to find much to place in the what I didn't love section. I found this to be an excellent book. Although there were minor technical errors like spelling, grammar, and some misplaced words, none posed any significant issues for me as I read. Okay, Max, it's time to rate this book. Are you ready? Max, my guy, you're spot on. Max and I totally agree that this book is off the charts amazing and achieves our highest rating possible. 5 ducks. This story is truly enjoyable and I cannot recommend it highly enough. I have linked to the Amazon affiliate page to this book below. Please do check out this and Vicky Whedbee's other amazing stories. Have you read Sarah's Song? I would love to discuss it with you in the comments or in my Discord, which is also linked below. I'm on Instagram, Goodreads, Facebook, and X. The links are down there. Would you like to be part of the Goddessverse? You can help me continue making my weekly videos through your support of my channel by sending me a coffee. The link is listed below, and if you contribute, I'll send a shout out to you here in one of my reviews. And remember, share your affinity to our little world and encourage others to join us. Every subscription, like, and comment helps. So guys, that's it for now. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Adios till next Wednesday. May your day be epic and may awesomeness follow you like a puppy needing hugs. Bye all.
What?
Yeah, so it was going like
I'm gonna go like this and then boink,
Oh my God.
boink. I like spreading discord and confusion, alright?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
you
you
do.
do know that.
I feel like I'm in the midst of meditation.
This story